Okay, so this is the second day of our presentation, season 3, and I am going to deal with the topic of feminist reading of Kamala Das's poetry. And I would like to start my presentation with Charlotte Bronte's quote, that is, I am no bird, no net snares me. I am a free human being with an independent will. So first, when we come to the feminist writers or poets, we have to mention such poet or poetess uh, who have contributed their works and in this field of feminism. Uh, First, I have put the quote of Virginia Woolf, that is, there is no gate, no lock, no wall that you can set upon the freedom of my mind. So, when you are dealing with a very sensitive topic of feminism, you have to be very free from your or all binaries and make your mind free. The late Kenyan Nobel Peace Laureate, that Mangari Matthai, put it simply and well when she said, "The higher you go, the fewer women are there." As we see that in our structure, when we go in social structure or economical structure or any structures are existing, so we cannot find women at the higher places. Still, they are struggling to reach that. Here I have mentioned in my slide that Aditi's lectures where she is dealing with the idea that I have chosen to no longer be apologetic for my femininity. And I want to be respected in all my femaleness because I deserve to be. I like politics and history and am happiest when having a good argument about ideas. I am girly, I am happily girly. I like high heels and trying on my lipsticks. It's nice to be complimented by both men and women, although I have to be honest and say that I prefer the compliments of stylish women. But I often wear clothes that men don't like or don't understand. I wear them because I like them and because I feel good in them. The male gaze, as a shaper of my life's choices, is largely incidental. Here we can observe that as we have seen, we have watched so many videos on this speaker as our task was there. So now we can relate that how. Ignite spirit this Adichie Chimananda was having, and how she has written all these things very bluntly. Robert Webb defines feminism in the following terms: feminism is not about having hating men; it's about challenging the absurd gender distinctions that boys and girls learn from childhood and carry into their adult lives. Is There are so many terms in psychology. Even if you are making the children in a such kind of ways and you are make them growing in kind of ideologies and you are imposing the ideologies upon them, then they will carry their ideas of these very narrow kind of ideas to their adult lives too. Who is Kamala Das? If we want to look for her life in her childhood, she had to marry in at the age of 15 years, and she was writing in the Malayalam and English. Mainly she was writing short stories in Malayalam and poems in the English. And Malayalam poems get translated into English, and then she get voice into feminism theory. She was a feminist poet, a critic of patriarchal prejudices and discriminations, as we will see some poems of Kamala Das and glimpses of her voice against the patriarchal prejudice and discriminations. The life of Das's persona may be considered a tale of her experiments with love, and repeated failures of her experiments force her ego to be resentful and defiant, according to Prasantha Kumar. Prasantha Kumar is a research scholar, and he has done research on the feminist view of Kamala Das. And when we go to the Kamala Das life, we get that her parents were into the literary field, and her father was editor and her mother was a writer. But Kamala Das was inspired by her uncle, late uncle, who was a very renowned name in the Malayalam literature. uh, we can say that fiercely feminine sensibility in her soul she was carrying. Now we are going to the work to look to have a look to the feminism theory. That is, I have put this such lines from this poem that is of Calcutta. I was sent away to protect a family's honor, to save a few cowards, to defend some abstraction, sent to another city to be a relative's wife. Here in my husband's house I am a trained circus dog, jumping my routine hoops each day. So in these lines we can say he as she has faced that early in early age she get married, and then she is saying that she had to marry to a cowards, and how she is bluntly addressing to the system of marriage that in at that time in Kerala, in their culture a girl has to marry at a 50. So in this poem we can have a glimpses of that. Kamala Das experienced the bitterness of sexism, the transformation of a wife into commendable canine canine status of a housewife has artistically been portrayed in this poem. Another poem is The Stone Age. You turn me into a bird of stone, a granite dove. You build round me a shabby drawing room, and strike my face absent mindedly while you read. The patriarchal prejudice of the male dominated society by portraying the indifference of men, women's miseries in this poem. Thus, she has compared the things, birdstone and the granite, and how she was looking towards this male-dominated society. And another work is the old playhouse. You planned to tame a swallow to hold her in the long summer of your love, so that she would forget not the raw seasons alone and the homes left behind, but also her nature to urge to fly and the endless pathways of the sky. As she was having the patience towards her career to writing such kind of voice, which were not at that time people were not writing in this blunt way, and at that time she was having that courage to write these kind of ideas which are burning problems, and still we are seeing in contemporary time. The poem symbolized the protest of all womanhood against the male ego. Her poem The Old Playhouse is seminal for the discussion of feminist strain in her poetry. It is a representative feminist poem composed by Kamala Das. In The Old Playhouse, Kamala Das does only depicts the plight and sufferings of a married woman chained to her husband's house, but also revolts against the male domination. Now, an introduction. We all are very much familiar with this poem as we have in syllabus. I have taken such lines from them. Then I wrote, I wore a shirt and my brother's trousers. I cut my hair short and ignored my womanliness. Dress in saris, be girl, be wife, they said. Be embroiderer, be cook, be quarreler with servants, fit in. Oh, belong, cried the categorizers. Don't sit on walls or peep in through our lace draped windows. Be Emmy or be Kamla, or better still be Madhvi Kuti. It is time to choose a name, a role. Basically, she was having the three names, that is Madhvi Kuti, Kamala Das, and Kamala Suraya. When she got married with her husband, then she get the name that is Kamala Das, and Madhvi Kuti when she write in Malayalam language, then she used the Madhvi Kuti name, and Kamala Suraya is her name which she got from her family. Kamala Das goes on to portray how traditional sex roles assigned to women are, in a way, forced upon them by the dominant male members of their families. Kamala Das is manifested in her highly individualistic sensibility and her aloofness from the ordinary concerns of a woman. There are so many women writers in the feminism theory when we ponder upon them, but the very blunt we can say at that time, Kamala Das only one who has portrayed in this way. When we go to the end of this poem, that is an introduction, she noted that I am saint, I am the beloved and the betrayed. I have no joys that are not yours. On X, which are not yours, I too call myself I. This is the beautiful ending of the poem and introduction, where she is dealing with very profound idea that how she struggles against the categorizers who has categorized men and women, as we have studied the binary oppositions, and how the male has uh, make female's identity marginalized. Who ask her to fit in, having revolted against them, she defines her identity. This is my work citation. Thank you.
So, Amisha, my question is that Kamala Das wrote about the female position in her poem. That what is the female position in society in her poem? That what kind of suffering they are facing. So, only she is just writing about the position, or we can say the suffering, or she gave any solution to this problem.
In my presentation, I have taken the poems which are speaking about male dominated against male dominated society, about prejudice towards women, and how society is accepting women to be fit in a structure. So, sorry to say, but I don't have pondered that other words, that I don't know that whether she is giving the solutions or not. So,
My question is that in the poems that you have mentioned in your presentation, so she gave any solution in that poem or not? I'm not talking about the other
okay,
poems.
yes. No, in that poem, she is raising her voice only, because this kind of problems at that time it was started, and still we are facing in contemporary time. So, it is kind of a burning issue in our society.
Amisha, can you say the real life experience or her life portrayed in his poem?
Yes, in of Calcutta poem, we have seen that he is making sarcastic views towards the at early age you have to be get married. So she was only that girl at the 15 years old age, she had to get married because of the certain kind of rituals or norms in our social structure. And yes, when she was reached at the 65, and at that time she was falling in love with the Muslim guy, and then she changed her identity, and she wanted to marry him. And it was but she was not in a way successful to get married him, but she has changed her identity to marry her. And she was kind of personality that believing in not gender, but first you are a human being, and you have to live your life in a free will, not any you can't fix yourself into any structure which are given by society.